With 2 legs of the Volvo Ocean Race completed, it's ABN AMRO 1 who have dominated with 2-leg wins from 2. Only their sister boat has been able to match them, becoming the fastest monohull in the world.
150 miles on the Wi-Fi! Yeah!
For the rest, it's been a frustrating tale of equipment failure, broken dreams, and making it to the finish any way you can.
And I'm absolutely livid about it.
But there's still more than half the race to go. Can anyone challenge Mike Sanderson and his crew? Race day, Melbourne. The decision by the Aussie entry Brunel to withdraw from the race until Baltimore hasn't deterred huge crowds coming out to watch the start of the next leg. The crews have regrouped after a testing trip from Cape Town, and once more, it's time to get serious. Here's what lies ahead. The 1,500-mile trip to New Zealand will take these Volvo 70s less than 5 days. The fleet will then pause for 48 hours before leaving en masse for Rio de Janeiro on leg 4. This trip around Cape Horn is the longest in the race, covering some 6,700 miles, and the boats will be at sea for just under 3 weeks. Since the Sancenzo import race, Mike Sanderson's ABN AMRO 1 have picked up maximum points. Time for complacency, maybe?
No, we've got to keep an eye on the big picture for sure. Got a little buffer on points-wise, and obviously really important to try and get the boat to Rio in one piece. So we've got to keep the big picture solidly in our heads and not get sort of emotionally carried away about there being 5 Kiwis on board. And if we can have a solid leg, then that'll be good at that. I'd be excited about that.
After 2 legs, ABN AMRO 1 hold a comfortable lead. Their nearest challengers are their sister boat. Movistar are in 3rd following their first podium finish on leg 2. Brazil 1 are 4th ahead of Pirates of the Caribbean and Ericsson. Brunel will sit out the next 3 legs. With the wind blowing 12 to 15 knots, the boats line up at the start. As the sun begins to set on the infamous Bass Strait, there's an immediate reminder that this short passage to New Zealand will be anything but straightforward. As the fleet head down the Bass Strait towards the Tasman Sea, the crew of Brunel are forced to ponder on what might have been. Their decision to withdraw from the race and rejoin in Baltimore in April has left their team with plenty of spare time to enjoy the quiet life.
Take a ride on the way to freedom.
Brunel's decision to miss the next 3 legs has attracted criticism, but the crew believe they're doing the right thing.
At the end of the day, Grant and his boat and his team do not want to go around the world finishing 5th or 6th by default, basically, you know, coming last in every leg, bar from the boats that are retiring. So, you know, when the option was there to sort of continue, there was sort of unanimous agreement that the right way to continue is to continue in a competitive way.
Fantastic, mate. That was fantastic.
As expected, the racing in the early stages is tight. ABN AMRO 1, full of confidence and looking to win their third consecutive leg, soon set the pace. Bauer Becking's Movistar declare their intent and push Mike Sanderson and the boys hard over the opening 48 hours. It's not long before the mountainous seas take their first casualty. Gerd-Jan Portman coming off second best in a collision with one of the daggerboards on ABN AMRO 2.
A bit of an open wound above his eye.
Been a living nightmare. First night, big wave, didn't see, well, saw it coming, but didn't realise the strength of it. And even when I realised there's nothing I could do, the damage on the front, the pulpit and everything, you can see how massive the water was. It just took me, swept me all the way from the front to the back, and I hit it with my arse on the daggerboard. Somewhere along the line I hit my head somewhere, don't really know where. But I hit the daggerboard and then my back overtook me, and I lay down, I had to wait in the back, you know, can't get up. Feel very down, you know, very helpless feeling.
While the battle continues out on the water, New Zealand eagerly awaits. Allowing the teams just 48 hours respite before the next leg, Wellington marks the first pit stop of the race.
Pit stop is a very short stop between legs, but we're only going to have 3 or 4 days, or possibly 2 days, in Wellington in New Zealand. So it's like a stopover, but it's really short, and we put a lot more rules in to make it really tight for people to do any work. The crew can get off the boat, and they can eat normal food and sleep in a hotel room, but they can't take anything on the boat to supplement their rations that they've got for the next leg. In terms of work, they're not allowed to do any work on the boat with outside assistance. If they take any outside assistance at all, whether that be people or stores or tools, then they take a 2-hour penalty and they will start 2 hours after the rest of the fleet. It's quite a deterrent. Doesn't sound very long. When you sit on the dock and watch the boat sail off, that's a scary thing.
As the fleet closes in on Wellington Harbour, there's an intriguing development. Movistar has made up ground on ABN AMRO 1, and the two rivals are battling for the lead. Dawn in Cook Strait. It's the final day of leg 3. And the closest finish in Volvo ocean race history is about to unfold. A few hours from the finish, in just 5 knots of breeze, leaders Movistar are being tracked by ABN AMRO 1, barely half a mile behind after 4 days of ocean racing. After surrendering a big lead, Mike Sanderson's men badly want it back. Unbeknown to Bauer Becking's crew, Movistar's hull is damaged near the keel, increasing the drag on the boat. Winners of the last 2 legs, Mike Sanderson's crew closes in to claim the next, and so resumes a duel that lasts all the way to the finish line. Both boats hug the coastline to avoid the ebbing tide. Barrett Reef, and the breeze picks up. These are now as much Sanderson's conditions as Becking's. Three miles to go. The boats head upwind in 13 knots. (1,450 miles completed, and it's still a match race. Less than a mile to go. Movistar squeezes hard. The Dutch boat cannot survive and bears away sharply. Becking now reacts. The wind shifts. Jennikers go up and Sanderson attacks for the final time. Movistar wins. Its margin of victory, just 9 seconds.
Very, very tense. Never had such a intense yard race, but like all the guys said before, New Zealand is a nice place to win, probably always one of the best stopovers to win, so we did it.
They sailed a good race, and we certainly threw everything at them. We actually crossed them a couple of times, and yeah, I mean, what was it, 9 seconds in the end, but it could have been a little bit closer. We couldn't get one of our sails on the lock, which meant we couldn't do our final real attack on them. But no, I mean, it was amazing yachting.
After Movistar's epic 9-second victory on leg 3, the other yachts are still to finish in Wellington. In third place, Pirates of the Caribbean. Paul Cayard's men enter Wellington Harbour 3 hours behind the leaders.
Oh, we had a few moments that had our attention, but overall we thoroughly enjoyed it. The boat was going great. We had some very exciting rides last night, and there's some great sailing leaving Australia as well, so we love coming over here.
No fairy tale ending for Brazil won after their Herculean efforts to get their mast ready in Melbourne. Torben Grail's crew finished 4th. But they're in better shape than ABN AMRO 2, where the charge across the Tasman Sea and the battle with 6th-placed Ericsson has taken its toll. Gerd Jan Portman is still feeling the injury sustained when a wave swept him across the deck. The drama continues. Ericsson, the last boat to enter the harbour with unspecified problems, suspend racing just a mile from the finish. Neil MacDonald claiming the repairs can't be made by the crew alone in the 48-hour pit stop. By suspending racing, Ericsson avoid being handed a 2-hour penalty for involving shore crew in Wellington. They'll complete the leg once the situation has been rectified. An extraordinary finish to an extraordinary leg. As Movistar celebrate, however, they know their victory has come at a price. Damage sustained to the hull is extensive.
The shore crew will have to work the 4 days full on 24 hours to sort this out. With the slamming, the front part of the wedge delaminates, and then the pressure of the water gets in the gap and then rips everything. Like the pressure of the water when you are doing 30, 34 knots, it's like big crashes.
3, 4, 5, 6,
Now.
7.
Welcome to Wellington, Ericsson. You're finally finished.
Well, there we go.
There we
Finished
go.
at last. Better late than never.
2.5 days after they suspended racing just half a mile from the finish line, Neil MacDonald's Ericsson formally finishes leg 3, having successfully exploited a loophole in the race rules. So after leg 3, ABN AMRO 1 are 10.5 points ahead of ABN AMRO 2. Movistar's win cements their third position, and there's a tight battle for fourth between Pirates of the Caribbean and Brazil 1. Ericsson are sixth, but reaction on the dockside to their antics has been mixed.
There's no special damage in the boat. It's just trying to make fools of everybody else.
As far as working within the spirit of the rules, you know, this is a top professional event. There's a lot of sponsors' money at stake. You know, everyone's going to just work the rules the best they can. You know, it's a clear loophole that they've taken advantage of. All credit to them, I think.
No, suspension of racing is to stop in the middle of a leg and pull into a shore and fix your boat and set off again. But at the end of the day, no, we didn't intend people to come in here in last place and suspend and then fix the boat and then go back and then finish so they don't have to take it to a penalty on the next leg. That wasn't our intention.
Leg winners Movistar will be at the biggest disadvantage. The discovery of damage to the fairing wedges around the keel leaves them with no option but to bring in their shore crew and accept a 2-hour penalty on the restart. But it's not just the boats that are fighting against time to be ready. Gerd Jan Portman is still troubled by his injured back, and a visit to hospital is required.
They can get rid of him, but they can't replace him for this next leg. They really need him on the boat for Sunday. So, little miracle required here.
Can you sit or not?
Yeah, well, on one side.
Yeah. So, what day did this happen? Sunday, Tuesday, 5 days ago.
But the X-rays show that the injury is worse than feared. Portman has broken his coccyx and will be unable to sail.
The doctor said be unsafe to go because we are 3 days into this race. We're out of a range of helicopters. I get another hit and it can be worse, and you bring the whole campaign in jeopardy.
Replacing Portman is a very eager substitute, Brazilian Lucas Brun. The team member left on the dockside when ABN AMRO 2 left Vigo last November. Brun will be taking the leg 4 route home.
At the beginning I felt very happy. Well, I would be doing the race again. But I still feel a little bit sad from what happened to Johnny. I think he worked as hard as I did, and he deserved to be here too. But this is the leg that I wanted to do the most. Southern Ocean, Cape Horn, and arriving in Rio. You know, everything going bad, and then suddenly you have a home site. So yes, that's the one I wanted to do.
The Wellington pit stop is over. Portman stays, Brun leaves, and the race goes on. Pirates bowman Curtis Blewett is another injured party left on the dockside. But it's still Pirates of the Caribbean who lead the fleet away. 6,700 miles to go there may be, but there's nothing like leaving port first. 2 hours after the first starting gun, their rivals some 25 miles in front of them, Movistar finally gets the word to go. But up front, it's the Black Pearl that leads the fleet out into the Cook Strait. Ahead of them, Cape Horn and the screaming winds and towering waves of the Southern Ocean. A day into the leg, the fleet's immediate problem is how best to skirt the remnants of a tropical cyclone. On ABN AMRO 1, the new race leader, Mike Sanderson opts initially for a northerly route, only to dive south abruptly at the end of day 2. Cashing in a short-term lead now could bring long-term gains.
So here we are in the nav station of ABN AMRO 1, and this is what you call biting the bullet. This was us up here. The only boat north of us was the kids in ABN AMRO 2. And here you can see the rest of the fleet, basically Ericsson, Pirates of the Caribbean, Movie Star and Brazil 1. We'd left our options open so that we could possibly go over the top of this low pressure which is spinning away up here, which is going to make its way down here. Basically here's the first of our ice gates here. We've decided though to cough up pretty much all our lead, come south on a hideous heading, 100 degrees to course, so we're actually going backwards, but come down and take our position in amongst the fleet.
On Sanderson's sister boat, Seb Joss's men stick to their guns. Along with Brazil 1, they're staying north, but are losing ground to the boats in the south. At least the new boy is settling in.
How's the trip going for you so far?
So far it's been very smooth sailing. I feel a little bit sorry for Johnny. He's missed all of this. We already got some reports about icebergs being that side, so I think we might be seeing some good action here.
5 days into this fourth leg, and the boats are thundering their way from New Zealand towards the ice gates. These have been placed on the route by the race organisers in an attempt to keep the fleet from straying too far into dangerous waters. This is nautical poker, opting to follow the northerly route, Brazil 1 and ABN AMRO 2. The rest of the pack believe the stronger winds lie further south. Out in front, ABN AMRO 1. Losing the last leg to Movistar by just 9 seconds still hurts, and the race leaders are desperate to get to Rio first.
We're back on top with about a 10-mile lead to the Pirates of the Caribbean. So another tricky couple of days coming up now after some relatively smooth sailing for the last 24 hours.
Further north, ABN AMRO 2 are beginning to realise that pursuing an alternative route could be costly.
Well, there's not much breeze out here, and the trick is now to push through it as fast as possible. And on the other side, there's more wind and more hope.
Every time it starts to get windy, it gets light before it, and I'm finding it very frustrating right now. I'm a broken man.
Their partner in the north, Brazil 1, is also struggling. Desperate to create a frenzy by entering Rio first, a ripped mainsail threatens their progress.
I don't know, we have a few technical problems here with the wiring, but
look at this ultimate technology. And then say, NASA.
No such problems in the south. Waiting for any slip from ABN AMRO 1 is Pirates of the Caribbean. The Disney entry scorched out of Wellington and onto the Southern Ocean. Just as Pirates of the Caribbean and the others in the south begin to feel triumphant, their route north to pass through the ice gate soon becomes arduous.
So it'll be a little bit slow for the next 24 hours. We've gone 1,600 miles in the first 4 days, so averaging 400 miles a day. It's a pretty good pace. And all the while, pretty easy cruising. Nice sleeping conditions, but it is getting a little bit cold. This is the Captain Paul Pirate on board the Black Pearl, 52 South, out.
Back on the water, Movistar are playing catch-up. They won the last leg but incurred a 2-hour penalty for allowing their shore crew to make repairs. Bauer-Becking's crew had to sit and watch while the rest of the fleet raced out of Wellington.
We're at 54 south, temperature's not too bad. The weather's been kind on us. We're about to start levelling off and coming up towards waypoint A, where we're going to pounce on the opposition. It's our turn now. We're just behind, but we like to attack from behind on this boat. And we're going to come good now, and it's all going to come to plan.
With a large ice field ahead of the fleet, the boats head north to round the ice gates. The lighter winds away from the danger zone bring the fleet closer together, and the tension on board is beginning to rise.
I reckon it's a very nice day of sailing in the Southern Ocean, made even more exciting for us by the fact that we've got another boat just in front of us, and we're catching them nicely.
Pirates of the Caribbean are suddenly running scared.
100 yards away, after 2,500 miles. It's all on.
As Movistar and Pirates of the Caribbean lock horns, the leaders ABN AMRO 1 are spotted on the horizon. The race is on. And up ahead is Cape Horn. Not just another scoring gate for the fleet, but the most significant nautical landmark on the planet. Rounding it is a rite of passage for the ocean sailor.
Ahead of them lies the southernmost tip of America, the legendary Cape Horn. A wild, isolated promontory of massive rock jutting far out into the roaring 40s and deflecting their fury into some of the world's most treacherous seas.
In the early races, champagne and beer helped the sailors on their way.
The great advantage of a race sponsored by a brewery is plenty of free beer.
But later on, as weight-saving measures were introduced, sailors found other ways of acknowledging the rock.
The Cape Horn cigar.
Right.
What's going on, Milka?
An Australian tradition, son. Whenever you go past a horn, a noon-up is required.
With strong winds of up to 40 knots forecast, the journey around Cape Horn promises to be fraught with danger. Since leaving Wellington, the Volvo fleet has covered some 4,000 nautical miles in 11 days. In the last 24 hours, all 6 boats have clocked well over 500 miles, including 5th-placed Ericsson. But the boat going fastest is the one right behind them, ABN AMRO 2.
Southern Ocean, 8 miles behind Ericsson on the left again, pushing as hard as we dare for about the past 30 hours. Mate's still pretty bad, so we can't reef. Blowing 30 to 32 knots. So keep on keeping on and hopefully get to the scoring gate ahead of Ericsson, get some more points.
And up ahead, Movistar's battle with Pirates of the Caribbean for 2nd place continues. But in the early hours of day 12, Bauer-Becking's men find they have more immediate concerns. At 3:15 a.m., Movistar starts taking on water through the wet box above the canting keel.
But in a matter of minutes, there was like water up to our hips inside of the boat. So first question, of course, is can we salvage the boat? Because that was the first one that went for all of our minds. So we quickly closed the watertight hatches so that only when the boat would fill up, that only the middle compartment would fill up. And in the meantime, I was upstairs with the other guys dropping the sails. But when I came downstairs, it was just like I got really a shock because I thought this boat is going down. But we have some high-capacity pumps, but of course the problem was that there was the electricity was short-cutting the whole time.
I'm going to have to turn the batteries off again for a second.
So Chris Nicholson actually dove underneath water and connected the water pumps directly to the batteries, and then very slowly the levels came down.
The situation now under control. Becking decides against sailing to the Argentinian port of Ushuaia for repairs straight away, and heads first for the scoring gate at Cape Horn to salvage what points he can. Up ahead of him, the leading boats are already there. First through the gate and 3.5 points to the good, Mike Sanderson's ABN AMRO 1. The Argentinian Navy even provides an escort. But then there are pirates not far behind. Third through the gate, Torben Grail's Brazil 1. They may have missed Carnival, but they're going to make up for it somehow.
Now we have been through the whole Southern Ocean. We didn't crash with any icebergs, and everything is okay. We are in third place, which we are very happy about. And now we are turning the corner and entering the Atlantic Ocean, and every day will be warmer and warmer. So we're looking forward to it.
Picking up 2 points for rounding the horn in fourth place is ABN AMRO 2. But overtaking Ericsson comes at a price.
Tell Sci-Fi the instruments are frozen.
Just half an hour after losing one of their smaller spinnakers when the bow slams into a huge wave, Seb Joss's men lose its replacement. When the tack line snaps, the sail and the metal furling unit is sent flogging behind the boat. Ericsson has dramas of its own when a battery bank breaks free and its terminal short, starting a resin fire. Yet another trying leg for Neil MacDonald's crew, but there's better news on the horizon.
We weren't in great shape in terms of position-wise when we came out of the Southern Ocean. By hard work, fortuitous weather system and clever placement by Stephen on the course, we've made a great gain on the rest of the fleet. At the moment, I think 50 miles separate first to last, so that's a great thing. We're in pouncing position of 3 or 4 boats, so it's very exciting times for us.
So, with the back markers making up ground as the leaders hit light winds beyond the Cape Horn scoring gate, ABN AMRO 1 extends its overall lead over its sister boat to 11.5 points. Movistar's hard-won point for rounding Cape Horn helps keep them 1.5 points clear of Pirates in 4th. Brazil is 5th, Ericsson 6th. Brunel rejoined the race in Baltimore. Meanwhile, Movistar suspends racing and makes a long, slow journey under escort up the Beagle Channel to Ushuaia in Argentina. Its crew shattered and shell-shocked.
First thing I thought was, am I going to see my family again?
There were 10 very, very determined people on that boat. We weren't stepping into that life raft, and we were going to do everything we could possibly do to avoid that.
I thought that we were sinking. Next thing that I did was, Chris was sleeping, Chris Nicholson. I said, Chris, get the pumps, the electric pumps that luckily Volvo put like compulsory for this leg.
There was so much water already in the boat. The breakers were tripping off and was having a lot of trouble keeping power on. I got the pumps to come on for a couple of seconds, then they crashed. So basically just decided to wire them directly to the battery banks, which is a problem because it's live. So I got electrocuted about 50 times. These basically saved the boat because they do 14 tonne an hour of water. They really sent it out, and I guess it just gave the guys a little bit more time to stop the water coming in.
So you can see where the big black square is basically. Before that was filled up and there was a sliding plate inside there, so the whole sliding plate has been gone. But you can see as well in the big square there is laminate on there, and actually the two laminates just basically just ripped apart.
Movistar's dreams of winning the race are in tatters. And unless the shore crew can replace the fairing around the keel and repair the damage to the keel box doors, even a podium finish could prove beyond them. Movistar's future hangs in the balance. Back on the racetrack, the fleet may have sailed away from the strongest winds, but it's not escaped the challenges of the leg. With 1,500 miles to go, the boats are still tightly bunched. ABN AMRO 2 have enjoyed the best of the conditions and are now second. Further west, in third place, are Pirates of the Caribbean, and Brazil won in fourth. On the Brazilian boat, Horacio Carabelli's ongoing problem is how best to recycle the precious oil from a leaking keel ram.
We won like it's not a nice job. Not a nice job at all.
Okay, job done. Save the ocean.
Totally unserviceable.
Aboard the Black Pearl, there's concern for their keel ram too.
Quite amazing.
In Ushuaia, repairs to Movistar have been hampered by rain and strong winds. But the crew are beginning to regain some confidence that they can get back into the race.
It's all going really well. The boat's coming along fine, and hopefully we're out here tonight. Ever heard that saying, it's like watching paint dry? That's what we're doing.
Movistar will sail the rest of the leg with its keel locked in the central position. It will take another 7 hours to reach the point at which it suspended racing, and another 7 days to reach Rio. The race leaders are still ABN AMRO 1, but only by 20 miles.
When you're not in the lead, you're stressing about trying to get in the lead, and when you are in the lead, you're stressing about trying to hold the lead. So it seems like the whole race is about stress. Although I'm sure it's a little more tense for the guys downstairs in the nav station.
Sked just in here. Our boys look happy. Always tense times, but yeah, this is definitely an emotional part of the day. Every 6 hours waiting for the sked. Table gets beaten to death waiting for it, and but no, this is a goodie. Capture this one. 19 miles, Aussie.
17.3 on the kit, 12.5 on the Brazilian, 6.7 on Ericsson.
It's been a productive 6 hours with gains made on the entire fleet, but a lot more work will be required on the run into Rio, over 800 miles away. Rio de Janeiro, soon to be a haven for our exhausted, weary crews after 6,700 nautical miles of punishing seas. Emerging from the darkness to win leg 4 of the Volvo Ocean Race is ABN AMRO 1. Mike Sanderson's crew are beginning to dominate this race, and their lead is starting to look unassailable.
I enjoy the yachting. I love the competition. I love the boats. I love the group of guys I'm sailing with. We've got an awesome team. I'm enjoying the event. I'm pleased to have this leg over and done with. I'll be honest. As soon as I saw the rule, there was always some apprehension of taking one of these skiffs into the Southern Ocean. You know.
So, as the race reaches the halfway point, it's 3 leg wins from 4 for ABN AMRO 1. And with 2 import race wins as well, they're going to be hard to catch. As the night draws on, Pirates of the Caribbean begin to stutter in light winds, and Brazil 1 capitalise. But within hours, Paul Kayard's boat regains second spot and enters Rio de Janeiro as runners-up.
I think my prognosis of how long it would take to get a project like this sorted and in good stead was right on the money. And second place in the Melbourne inshore, and then second to the Horn, and third to Wellington, and second again here. I mean, I think we're starting to see a nice pattern, and I'm getting some confidence from that. The truth is that ABN's a very fast boat. It's a great design, and it's going to be hard to beat that boat. That's the way it is, and anything can happen in sport, and especially in sailing, and we will be definitely pushing as hard as we can on the Pirates of the Caribbean.
The battle for third place is going down to the wire as Brazil 1 and ABN AMRO 2 fight it out on the approach to Rio. But after 6,700 nautical miles, it's the Dutch entry with Lucas Brun on the bow who steal a place on the podium by just 19 minutes.
We really had to raise our game to get on the podium. We had our ups and downs, and the team was really tested. And obviously, we've had to fight for every metre and every mile of this race, and it came right down to the finish. And the boys have done a tremendous job. They've come together really well. They've worked really hard.
With a faulty radar, Brazil's first ever entry in the Volvo Ocean Race arrives in Rio believing they are about to cross the line in third. Unbeknown to them, they are the fourth boat to reach the harbour.
Yeah, it is disappointing. We're very pleased we did most that we could to have a good result here, and it wasn't to be this time, so have to keep trying to have it in the future.
For Bauer Becking's Movistar, podium places and points are no longer the issue. With a huge volume of work ahead of the crew on arrival, including the replacement of all the electronics and engine parts damaged by its near sinking, Rio can't come soon enough.
We had given a jamón de jabugo from the Spanish tugboat, which is serving the Spanish base in Antarctica. And here we are. A little bit every day for the boys.
Tastes good?
Oh.
In 5 days, with luck, they'll be in Rio. In the meantime, there's Rioja.
Está bien. Super bueno.
Just under 12 hours after Brazil 1's entry into Rio, Ericsson arrived to take 5th place. One of the pre-race favourites, it's been another disappointing leg for Neil McDonald's crew. At the top of the mast, clear evidence of the damage done by a lightning strike 18 hours from home that destroyed the electrics. The post-mortem into Ericsson's repeated failings will be more serious. The fallout is immediate. Ericsson rearranged their crew for the next leg. Neil McDonald loses his place as skipper. His replacement, their inshore tactician John Kostecki, who led Ilbrook to glory 4 years ago. McDonald will continue as watch captain.
Well, the boat performance and speed hasn't been, quite up to par. I think Neil and Steve have been struggling at times with certain tactical and strategy calls, and so not that they've been doing a bad job, but I hope to come in and try to improve in any way I can and help the team.
At the end of another eventful leg, here's how the Volvo Ocean Race leaderboard is looking. ABN AMRO 1 are 14 points clear of ABN AMRO 2 at the top, while Pirates of the Caribbean are up to 3rd. Movistar retained 4th place when they finally finished, 26 days after leaving Wellington. It's been a frustrating last week for the Spanish entry. This leg promised drama, and it duly delivered. You can stay up to date with all that's happening in our weekly update programs every Friday night on ITV4.